I figured we would just continue kind of the conversation that we had from last night on the Sunday call. Christy was kind of talking about body composition and talking about some of the ways to be able to create, that body composition change, and one of them being strength training, and obviously talking about building muscle. But I thought it would be good to kind of talk about some of the other benefits that strength training has, not just the building muscle aspect and getting stronger. Because obviously those things are good if you're in a season of trying to create body composition change, but strength training can help with so many other things. And I think that's really cool. I think one of the things that, it's helped me the most with is really just more self-confidence and better mental health. Because, you know, before strength training, I was just always an athlete, always playing soccer, always had like really strong legs, total like wimpy upper body. Like I could not do anything. And I remember when I first started strength training, it was like, oh, wow, I can actually build some muscle. And I got stronger in my upper body. And then it started to catch up to my lower body. And it was just a super empowering thing to be able to see, I don't know, like reap the benefits of all the hard work that you put in. And I like to lift heavy things. I like to lift heavy. It's cool to be able to push yourself and kind of accomplish things that you didn't know you could do. Like, I remember one of the things that I never thought I could do was a Tough Mudder. Like some of those things, climbing rope and like climbing over some of the, what was it? One was like a half pipe. You had to climb up like a wall, like all these crazy things that I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do that stuff just because I had never practiced it. But then going and doing this strength training transferred over into this. And I was just like so proud of myself from being able to do like incline monkey bars, which I would have never thought I would have been able to do, which I thought was super cool. But yeah, I figured we kind of like just talk about some of the other benefits. Obviously, strength training will make you stronger, not only your muscles, but also your bones. And when you start building more muscle and having more overall strength, it translates into everyday life. Like, I know when we're doing chores at home, I'm the one who can throw the things over my shoulder and carry them around, or like helping my grandma with mulch. Or, if you're carrying all your groceries in from Costco, I pride myself in being able to do it in like one trip. But, just making everyday life tasks easier. And I think it was Lauren. Oh, we got Terry back. I think it was Lauren that posted like a reel or something on Instagram, and she was like squatting on the toilet, like how it transfers into getting up and getting down off the couch, off the toilet, or if you're bending down to pick up children and throwing those guys on your hip, or, playing with them. It's not just to only, change your body composition, but it can really translate into real life. And then, as we age, women after the age of 30, we can lose anywhere from, I think it's like 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade. So as we start to age, we start to naturally lose this muscle mass if we're not sending, the signals to our body to keep it. When we start losing muscle mass, we're going to start losing bone density. And as we get older, the rate of this loss continues to get faster. So strength training can literally be done at any age and can help fight, some of the things that like osteoporosis. Fighting that is by sending that signal to your body. And strength training doesn't just have to be like in the gym, like lifting heavy weights, like lifting heavy. It's literally anything that challenges your body. So it could be Pilates, you're using your muscle. It could be CrossFit. It could be training at home. It could be training in the gym. You're sending that signal to your body to be able to keep that muscle. also, as we strength train, building up that muscle, making sure we're sending the signals to our body, it helps protect our joints and different, our knees, our ankles, because a lot of the times when injury happens is because, maybe we're weak somewhere and you do just like one of those like little movements or, leaning. I feel like it's always like leaning down in the shower or reaching back to, grab something in the car and something hurts or we have an injury, and it's doing those little movements. And it's because we haven't built that strength up in our body to build the strength around the joints so that we don't get that injury as we age. And then I think one of the other things to mention with strength training is that, it does improve the efficiency of your metabolism. So if you are in that body composition, season, and you are trying to, what did Christy say? I think lose marshmallows and gain M&Ms. If you're trying to lose the marshmallows, having more of the M&Ms makes it easier each time you go into that body composition change. As you start to build more muscle, you can kind of think of muscle as like expensive tissue, just meaning that it needs more calories to maintain it. So you're lighting fuel on your fire. Yeah, I think that's how I said it. Like you're adding fuel to the fire by having more muscle in your body, because your body's going to need more calories to maintain it. So especially if you had your metabolism review and you're on a reverse, it's a really awesome time to pair that with strength training, because you can use some of that extra fuel to build even more muscle. And then that way, when you go into a phase of maybe where you're focusing on fat loss, that fat loss becomes a little bit easier because you have more muscle on your body. And it also makes it easier to maintain. So let me see. I had notes because I was like, I don't want to miss anything. I have to take notes, so I wanted to cover everything. Yeah, I think the other thing that obviously like it can improve your, your mental health and your mood, but overall it's really good for your cognitive health. Like you're working towards something that you're striving to achieve, keeping that, your brain functioning properly can help you have really, positive mood, because you just accomplished something that you're like, maybe you didn't think you could do, where you surprise yourself. I know we talked about that in the beginning, but if anything that I've learned from my physical therapist, because I like to ask him questions and learn from him, is that like, movement is medicine for the body. Like our body was not meant to be stagnant and still. And even if it's just doing like 15 squats, 15, push-ups and 15 crunches on your walk, like that still counts as strength training. It doesn't have to be this big, crazy program, because if you're continuously sending that signal to your body, you're going to continue to build strength. Like I feel like I've made it. And Leah, I don't know, I can't remember when you were talking about this, but I remember you mentioned it, that like kind of taking like an approach where you more isn't necessarily always more when it comes to building, muscle and strength, is that if you take the time to, focus on those few days and also focus on recovery as well, you can get so much further in your training and build really awesome results without feeling like you have to like kill yourself at the gym. Terry's shaking her head.
It's very interesting because Sandy, the PT right now, is doing this like challenge that, let me turn these lights off. I don't like this on. She's doing this challenge with the DEXA, and okay. It's not a scale one. It's not a scale challenge. It is, muscle gain, fat loss ratio kind of challenge. And she said that the first one she did, a gym approached her, and the first gym she did, the guy lost like 22 pounds or something like that in like 14 weeks or something. And he ended up losing like the majority of that was muscle loss. And then a different guy had lost less weight, but had gained more muscle and lost more fat. So it's like he actually maintained muscle. And she's saying what she is seeing is that the people who are working out like 3 or 4 times a week and have really good balance and are focusing on protein intake are the ones that are actually maintaining more muscle as they lose fat. So I just thought that that was very interesting data, because it just goes back to the less is more kind of, you know, but with data. Instead of just like, oh, when I do less, I feel better. You know what I mean? Data sometimes feels different than just. So I thought that that was very interesting. And I don't disagree with it, because the magic happens during recovery too. So like when we're just tapping ourselves out, there's no magic that happens to build the strength. I thought that was like pretty cool, actually.
I nerd out on some of that, like DEXA stuff. I've had that done, and it's really cool to see when you spend time like strength training, like how much muscle mass you have. Like I think I was in like the 100th percentile for everything. Cause you know, when you see the BMI chart, sometimes you get a little, I mean, they tell me that I'm, you know, overweight on the BMI chart, but I'm over the 100th percentile for, you know, muscle mass. So I hate the BMI chart because I just think it's an outdated way to be able to measure someone's health. But yeah. And I swear each time I've spent time really focusing on like building strength and building muscle, it's become so much easier, like you said, Leah, like to be able to lose body fat doing less. Like I've been working out 3 times a week for, I don't know, the past like year and a half. And I feel like I've gotten so much further because of that recovery aspect too, where before I wouldn't have done that. Marlena, I know we're starting our strength training here in a couple weeks together. Chelsea's doing her strength training, and you've been doing really solid with yours. I'll humble brag.
Yes, up until up until my camping week. So
hey, you deserve to have, you know, a week off when you're moving your body every other way when you guys are doing that stuff. So
yeah.
Which your workouts are all updated for you, by the way.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also Tori exercises. That's still a form of strength training, because you're focusing in on, you know, a exercise that builds some type of like, maybe it's strength or endurance in, maybe it's a certain muscle group or joint, like you're helping those areas. All of that stuff benefits. And then eventually once you graduate from Tori exercises, you can take, you know, whatever approach suits you best. And I think that's really, you know, what's awesome about strength training is that it can literally look so different for everyone. And there's so many ways you can slice and dice it. And I think it's finding what really, I don't know, what is fun for you. Like I said, I love to lift heavy things. I love deadlifts. I love squats. I love compound movements. They're my favorite. But I also, being a former athlete, like I love doing some type of like metabolic conditioning. So training like an athlete would. And Chelsea, I know you like your upper body strength training. Like that's the stuff that you really enjoy. So I think finding something that you really love is going to help you with the consistency piece of it too. And then if you're like, well, I don't know what type of strength training I like, well, that's when we can have fun with things and we can try different stuff to, you know, help you with enjoying it. Like, and I think that's when, you know, being able to like know yourself and be realistic, which I think is what we talked about last week, where it's like, if you only have 30 minutes to like dedicate to the gym, then, you know, we can figure out something that can work within that time frame. because if it's like, an hour long and you don't have an hour, then it's not going to make sense for you.
Yeah, because I think some of Tori exercises, she has all different kinds, and some are just 15 minutes and some are 30 minutes. And then when I was doing like weight training that Leah had given me like at the beginning of the year, it was maybe 20, 25 minutes long. It wasn't that long, but you could see the results. I mean, yeah, so that's good. And I didn't know how hard Tori exercises were until I didn't do them for like 2 months, and then I came back home and started doing them again, and I was sore. It's like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I remember when we were in Washington last year, and Amy did like a workout in the morning, and she had us walk backwards. And I was like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad. And then like we walked backwards for a good bit. I was like, this is way harder than it looks at first.
There's a hill when I go for my walk. There's a hill that I always, at one mailbox, I turn around and I go past, I think, 4 other mailboxes till I get to the top, and the neighbors just kind of look at me like, oh, there's the weird lady walking backwards. And I'm like, for my physical therapy. My physical therapist told me to do this. So, and then they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Leah, were you going to say something? Oh, okay. I thought she went to unmute. But yeah, I figured it would be good just to kind of talk about some of the other benefits. I mean, if you're in a body composition change of a season, or maybe you're just focusing in on overall health, like strength training has a place in your routine. And I think it's just trying to figure out what makes sense for you right now and like what season you're going into. Like for me, soccer is going to be ending soon. So once soccer ends, I'm probably going to add another day in because I'm enjoying, training on Sunday mornings. So we'll work with my trainer to kind of see what that looks like. But, that's the piece of training that like I love. I love that competition. And that's why I like to train at the gym, because I'm competitive with myself, but I also having those other people around me, even though they don't know, they help keep me accountable, because I like see my normal people there, where I see like, the guy at the desk and always say hi to him at the same time. So, I like going to the gym, because I found when I was working out at home, I would slack off and I'd be like, I don't have to do it. But I know that about myself. But if you're looking for efficiency, training at home, and you got the space and, some equipment to work with, then you can get it done super quick, and it can be easy in your schedule.
For me, it's easy to work at home. Not right at this very moment, because they're redoing my basement and they're not done yet. But all my equipment was downstairs. So all I would do is go downstairs and do a quick workout in the morning before the dogs would wake up back when.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get it done. And if that didn't happen, I always had like the afternoon or mid-morning. I mean, I had like plan A, plan B, plan C, because I think the dogs are worse than my kids, to be quite honest. So, I mean, they're more demanding than my children were. I could put them in front of a TV for 15 minutes and do what I needed to do. So, but working out to me is important, because I just want to be able to move as I get older. I mean, I am older, but I want to continue to be able to move. So that's super important for me. So that's why I keep moving my body.
I like how you said like you have a plan A and B, because it's like it doesn't always have to look a certain way. And like, even when I tell myself, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And then I don't, because when I go lift, I like body build style more than I do like CrossFit Olympic lifting. But then if I don't get there, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the 4:30 class because screw it. I'm just going to have somebody boss me around, and it just moving my body and lifting things. It's like, I have to remind myself too, that like my body doesn't really know if it's 5 or 500 pounds. If it feels heavy, it feels heavy. And so it's like, I have to kind of let that go too. Like, it doesn't have to be some certain weight. If it feels hard, it's still hard, right? It doesn't matter. And so I like how I've been doing that plan A and B recently, and then just not getting too wrapped up in it, not having like, I usually am a really competitive person, but as I've gotten older and try to find this balance, I can like not have to do the workout as prescribed, and I don't care anymore, like I said, if it still feels heavy and hard, it is. So I think that's something to remember too. Like, it doesn't have to be a certain weight, it doesn't have to be a certain heavy, it doesn't have to be as fast as you used to be. If it's hard, it's hard,
That was a tough pill for me to swallow too. Is like really like listening to, because I would be someone who would just like push through, because like that was the prescribed workout. So like I had to do it that way, like the rule follower in me. And there would be days like I would go into the gym and I'd be like, oh my God, like this is so heavy. And I just was like, oh well, I can't go backwards. I have to stay with the same thing. But I've been tracking my cycle recently, and because, I nerd out on stuff. So I am definitely not as like strong during that. So I take and I scale it back. And I know that like during that time, I just can't lift as heavy as I could. And I do have to scale it back. And then I'm thankful later when I'm not like, it's midday and I'm like dragging, like ready for a nap because I pushed myself too hard.
My mother-in-law told me, she has since passed away. Once you hit 40, you lose a lot of your muscle mass. And I'm like, you know what? We move every 2 years or every 18 months. I'm good. I lift boxes all the time and move furniture. But sure enough, using my butt to move that furniture wasn't, my legs weren't as strong as they used to be. And I'm like, darn, she was right. That was disappointing. So, because I always played sports. So volleyball or whatever, and played with the kids as they were growing up. But yeah, it was a rude awakening when I started losing muscle mass, and disappointing. So
Well, you can always build it back up.
yep, slow but surely I have. Yeah. Not the same as when I was younger, but yeah. Yeah. You're muted.
I know, I hate being on my phone. It's hard to unmute sometimes. It might not be the same, but like, maybe like, this is what I'm thinking, like for myself, like maybe I don't need to do those things anymore that I needed to do when I was young. Like now, like, yes, I still like to lift weights and all the things, but like, I'm more like, if I'm like with my Christmas ornaments, if I can't get them down and up from the top of the thing, that's when I'm like, if I can't do this, I need to quit working out. Like, so like the things that I need to do have changed. I don't need to beat somebody at a CrossFit WOD anymore. Like, I need to be more functional, or I need to, like our needs have changed. And I think that that's okay too. In seasons, it's just coming to grasps with like, it's like Terry, you were saying about the Tory exercises, like there's some you really like and some you don't. And it's like, oh, but they all come in succession. One goes after the other for the reason. Well, is it better to do zero, or is it better to do just the ones you like? And so, and so it's kind of thinking about it like that. We don't have to do all of it. Maybe our season is different. I don't know.
Yeah, mine.
And maybe that's why it looks
senior
different.
Season.
Stop it.
It is.
You're still badass.
Right. Yeah. Everyone sees me that way. Not.
We'll just tell you a million times till you believe it.
And I'll laugh every time.
All right, ladies. Well, I feel like this was a good call, kind of talking about all the different, aspects of strength training and like what it can look like. And, as long as we're moving our bodies and sending that signal some way, we're doing the damn thing. So I think that's, it's really good to keep in mind that it's going to look different for everyone, and it'll probably look different multiple times in your life. But as long as you're still doing the things and moving forward, that's all that matters.
Yep. And I have to say, Gus looks really cute on top of your table, Marlena.
I know. I was like smiling. Like standing here.
He's a big fatty, but he can get on top of the table.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't notice if he got up there
Sniff
by
my
himself or
ear.
if you put him there.
There's a chair. He'll jump on the chair and jump up there. He's
Cute.
funny.
Is he a
Very
pug?
cute.
Yeah.
They're little chunksters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
All right, ladies. Well, I hope you guys all have a good rest of your night, and I will see you next Monday.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye.